Hello, this is OverlordBou, back with another ship review video, and today we'll be looking at the new upcoming Tier 8 US Hybrid BB, the Nebraska. Now, the Nebraska BB line, well, the US Hybrid BB line will be available through the early access starting with patch 12.0. Like the previous events, with the ships can be obtained through buying event bundles. Now, the Tier 8 Nebraska is the final reward obtained through the paid Battle Pass system. The Tier 9 Delaware will appear as a random drop in the bundles, while the Tier 10 Louisiana can be bought for doubloons after all event doubloon bundles are obtained. Now, I'd only recommend paying if you plan to complete all of the Battle Pass to be able to get the Nebraska. Normally, since the Battle Pass is like $9-10, I normally recommend people buy the Battle Pass anyway. So it being a Battle Pass ship kind of is like, it's nice, but at the same time, it's like, it's still a tech tree ship, but again, it's like $10, so if you're gonna buy the Battle Pass anyway, complete anyway, then there's really no harm. But even then, you'll mostly want to get the other rewards in the Battle Pass, so spoiler alert, the Nebraska is a forgettable reward, since you don't, even if you don't complete the mission, you can still research the Nebraska after she goes live. So again, if you want to get the Nebraska, totally fine with getting the Battle Pass. The Battle Pass is normally $10, so if you want it, you want it. You can get a head start for the line, so totally up to you on that. Now, I'm going to be going over my recommended captain build first with a module setup, followed by the ship stats, and finally I'll give my thoughts about her performance overall. Now, first up is the captain build and upgrade, will be shown on the top right. You guys can pause the video at any time if you'd like to be able to take a look at that. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the ship stats, starting with her armor and survivability. The armor will be shown on the top right. It has a 32mm bow/stern with a 32mm deck armor and a 305mm belt armor. The ship has 71,100 HP pool with a 23% torpedo belt protection. Now, the Nebraska's hull is basically a North Carolina with a boig on top. A boig, the old CV that was removed a long time ago. So rip. Unfortunately, her 32mm flight deck and extremities renders her extremely vulnerable to HE spam. Practically the same level of protection as the French BBs, so yikes in that regards. Now, her flight deck also tends to catch a lot of AP shells, leading to full AP pen damage. While she has more HP than the North Carolina, her worse armor means she is less tanky in practice. On the bright side, Nebraska can just sit and bow in all game due to her all-4 gun layout. She can cuddle next to an island and protect herself. Kind of like how the John Bart does, but at least this one you get, planes with this, so nice in that regard. Now, next up is the main guns. You have 6 furrow 6mm/45 guns, same guns as the North Cal, with 6 in the front and none anywhere else. You have a 22.7 kilometer range, which I really don't know why. The 30-second base reload, a 45-second 180 degree turret traverse. It can fire 40 degrees off at the stern. Now, the HE shell damage is 5,700 with a 68mm HE pin, a 36% fire chance, and 76k HE DPM. And you also have a 13,100 AP shell damage with a 28mm overmatch with a 45 through 60 degree ricochet angle and 175k AP DPM. Now, the dispersion will be shown on the top right as I talk about her guns. Now, the Nebraska's all-forward firing guns is nice in theory, but you only get 6 of them. So, yeah, you just get 6 guns. It's a torturous experience as your shells routinely miss broadside targets, as you'll be seeing throughout these videos. Now, the North Carolina shells also means you have to lean more, making aiming even more difficult since the shells are more floaty. It's a very unrewarding experience at best. Even if you can just sit, bow in all game, it's so bad that Tier 6 BB's guns can feel better at times. Now, for the secondary armament, you get 10 twin 127mm/38 guns that do 1,800 HE damage, 6-second reload, and a 6.6 kilometer range with a 5% fire chance. Now, with the normal secondary dispersion, aka terrible, for the US line, exactly same effectiveness as North Carolina, so not worth building or using at all. Now, for the anti-air defense, you get 6 inner plus 2 outer flak, so you get 8 flak clouds in total. Pretty nice for a Tier 8 battleship. Pretty nice indeed. You get a long-range DPS of 175 at 5.8 kilometers, a mid of 235 DPS, and a near of 459 DPS. Pretty nice, pretty effective. Now, Nebraska's anti-air is decent for a BB. She'll destroy tier 6 CV planes, but not tier 8 and tier 10 CV, sadly. She's also defenseless when flying her bombers, so cunning CV players may time their strikes to when you're distracted, which happens in the next replay. Not this one, but the next one, you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, I had so much fun. You'll see. Now, as for her anti-sub capabilities, she gets 2 max charges of 2. The number of depth charges per attack is 2, with the damage being 4,200 and the reload time being 30 seconds. Now, you do get a range of 10 kilometers for the ASW, which is really nice. It has the same range as other tier 8 BBs, so pretty good overall since they have excellent range. Now, moving on, we'll be talking about the tactical HE dive bombers. Now, I'll have a pattern shown on the top right of the attack pattern. Now, you did get 1 attack run per flight, and you get 5 planes per attack. Never planes per squad is 5, with a aircraft X restoration of 120 seconds, an HE bomb damage of 7,300 with an HE pen of 42 millimeters. Now, the aircraft HP is 2,229 with a cruise speed of 135 knots and a max speed of 173 knots. And you get 2 engine boosts, which is pretty nice. Now, the Nebraska's dive bombers are powerful when used correctly. Not only do they deal good damage, but they are effective at spotting and damaging DDs. Something other BBs are incapable of. Now, only tier 10 anti-air can really threaten them, but even then, you'll drop all your bombs unless you hit a cloud. Excuse me. Now, just don't fly the planes for too long, because you can't control the whole or fire guns while flying, unless you're using autopilot. But we all know how autopilot is, okay? You can literally guide it away from an island, you'll still hit islands, so just be careful of that. Even though it has gotten better. Now, the best effective use of these bombers is the key to mastering this line. So if you learn how to use them properly, you'll do amazing in the end. Now, for maneuverability, you have a max speed of 30 knots with a turning radius of 760 meters and a 16.2 second rudder shift. Nebraska has excellent maneuverability due to her North Carolina hull. The 30 knot speed also places her as one of the faster BBs at tier 8, though not too useful in practice. She does handle very well, though this matters less if autopilot takes over, because as far as you know, autopilot really doesn't do the best job of keeping you mobile. It does like the really slow turns. It's just like, ugh. It's just better not to rely on autopilot at all, really. Now, for concealment, you have a 15.2 kilometer base for the surface and 11.2 kilometer for the aerial. And for the best surface is 12.3 kilometers, and the best aerial is 9.1 kilometers. Now, her conceal is very good for a BB. Not only does this offset her gun issues, but she spends less time flying planes to her target, which is in turn improves her overall damage output. Now, finally, let's go over the consumables that are to her. Now, she does get the US Damage Control Party, which is a 20-second immunity period and an 80-second reload time. Now, the standard BB repair party heals 14 through 70% of the total HP with 4 charges and 5 with the ERE and an 80-second reload time. Now, you do have catapult fighter planes, 3 base charges, 4 fighters per squadron with a 90-second active time and a 70-second reload time. Now, do take note, though, that the US hybrid line uses the normal repair party and not the improved version that's on the Montana line. So, do take note of that. Now, my overall impressions of the Nebraska is that it has a very high skill floor. It is very difficult to balance between the bomber use and playing a battleship. New players often fly their bombers for too long and heavily reducing their firepower or accidentally putting them in dangerous situations. Pretty much, you're flying the planes too long, not paying attention to what your ship is doing. You put yourself in a really bad situation, you get yourself blown up pretty much. So, yeah. It doesn't help also that the autopilot is actively trying to kill you 24/7. Though being Bowen is somewhat compensates for this, so definitely be on note of that. The skill ceiling is also very high. The optimum balance of bombing, spotting, and battleship gameplay is difficult without a lot of practice, even for experienced players. Now, there are also a lot of useful tricks specific to the hybrid BBs that require a lot of practice to master. For instance, if you pretty much know how to, if you play the Kearsarge line, you know how to master the Kearsarge, then you do very well with these hybrid lines. So moving on from that, the Nebraska is the tier 8 quote-unquote battleship, and the first in the US hybrid BB line. She combines the Richelieu with Lexington dive bombers, if you want to compare in that instance, giving her unparalleled utility for a battleship. However, this comes at the cost to the rest of the ship. Her guns are awful, and her durability is suspect, especially when up-tiered. Now, the Nebraska should have positioned it roughly 11 through 15 kilometers away from the enemy. While her guns are bad, they're still her primary source of damage. In some matches, you can bow in next to an island using your all-four gun arrangement to your advantage, getting close to also cutting down the plane travel time. Also improving your damage output. Now, once the enemy is weakened, you can run them down, and not even DDs can escape your bombers. So if the Nebraska is in danger, you can retreat behind the island. If you can't run, you can at least force enemies to get close. Now, her kiting hills are still usable, so don't be afraid to kite like other BBs if the enemy's overwhelming. But the main thing is, this thing has such a fat behind that legit, if you're kiting away, they can just pin that upper, pretty much airfield that's on your back. So yeah, it's gonna really hurt, so definitely be careful of that. So yeah. So of course, the entire reason to play the hybrid line is for their HE dive bombers. When played correctly, they can swing matches in ways other BBs can't do. Her dive bombers are best used in a specific situations when a DD's within 10 kilometers is a threat, trying to light fires in coordination with your next salvo, low HP ships behind islands, enemies on the other flank, and you have nothing better to do, really. Now, the HE dive bombers are deadly against DDs, both spotting and dealing respectable damage. Depending on your support, it might be better to hover over the DD before dealing with the final blow. The dive bombers sound powerful, but realistically, they don't expect more than 5k because of RNG. And if you pre-aimed your guns correctly, you can even get your own gun level off before the spotting wears off after you do your attack run. Now, while useful, don't go out of your way to hunt DDs. It will cost your precious salvos and potentially put your own ship in danger if left for too long. So for number 2, her dive bombers will mostly be used against enemy BBs or cruisers. If an enemy BB is heavily angled, you can fire an HE salvo and immediately launch your planes. If he immediately DCPs your fires, you can time your bomb strikes with the end of his DCP, hopefully lighting up permafire on him, getting that sweet fire damage. Now this works best under 16 kilometers, being better, it gets better the closer the enemy is to you. So of course, make sure your guns are already aimed before you launch. Don't waste precious time rearranging your guns. Now for 3, hitting ships behind islands is useful, but relatively uncommon. Only useful if you don't have shots on anyone else, or if the ship is at low HP. Now, flying bombers to other flank should only be done if you're at low HP or have no targets to shoot at. So pretty much if you're in a flank that's already been won and there's no one near you, pretty much the only option left is just to use your bombers to go fly across the map as your ship also tries to get there as well. Now, in the unfortunate and rare situation where you have no HP and heals remaining, you can play like a CV. The bombers do take a while to reload, so you can focus on spotting and exploiting enemy DCP timings. Ideally have the guns ready in case a broadside presents itself. Now, while the line itself is interesting, Nebraska herself is kind of a disappointment. Her guns are simply too weak to rate her any higher. Now, sure, her dive bombers will smash other ships, but it doesn't matter when her guns make up 70% of her gameplay. Now, even if you don't play her, getting Nebraska through the battle cells will save you 100k free XP when researching the line, so you can just take that for note. Now, for randoms, I'd say it's pretty poor to mediocre. Her main guns have abysmal performance, pretty much worse than some tier 7 BBs, and the dive bombers aren't necessarily good enough to compensate. Now, for ranked, I'd say is mediocre as well. She's best used to smash Ds with her HE dive bombers. Outside of this, she's effectively becoming a tier 7 BB that can sit bow in, and the meta like Massachusetts and Leonard are far too superior overall for tier 8s. Now, for clan battles, I'd say it's outclassed by the tone. The Nebraska's role for clan battles would mostly just be a spotter BB, but the tone is better in this role while not costing a valuable BB slot. Now, her poor durability and firepower makes her not worth using, and the Massachusetts and Atlantico are better suited for the BB role if you're going to be talking to specifically tier 8s. Now, again, you are able to get the Nebraska in the upcoming Battle Pass and coming in patch 12.0. So you guys can take note of that as well. So whenever the patch comes out, you can start running out the battle pass to be able to do that. So definitely take note of that. Now again, the battle pass normally just costs $10 to get. So normally I would recommend just getting the battle pass anyway for the rewards you get along the way. As in, I'm just saying the premium battle pass. I'm not talking like the premium battle pass. I'm talking like the regular battle pass is normally just $10. I'd recommend that because you get those really nice rewards. So I always recommend people usually get the battle pass. If they don't have a lot of money, then of course do not get the battle pass. You don't have to. You can get free rewards out of it. But the rewards for the battle pass itself is always worth it. I always think so. $10 for how much you get is pretty much really worth it in the end. So I do recommend normally just buying the battle pass just for the rewards. But in the end, you do get the ship as well at the end. So for $10, I don't think it's a bad thing. But again, it's totally up to you guys if you want to buy it or not. Now, I did get some pretty nice gameplay out of her while playing her. I did have some pretty nice matches with her. I had a lot of fun playing her in the end. But again, like as you saw through a lot of, like, you're gonna be seeing a lot of these matches, the guns, just this gun gameplay was just really troublesome. I had a lot of trouble trying to get used to the guns. If that, like, the field, like, you only have 6 guns and they're not super accurate, is a good way to put it. This version isn't the best. They're super lofty guns too. So as most of the time you just see me sitting bow in, pretty much sitting bow in the target, sitting back, making sure that people aren't able to push me. Because as you can see how fat that behind is, if you're trying to kite away from somebody, in that thing, they can just tear up that whole broadside and rear, just tear it up. So it really isn't worth to kite in this thing. You can, like, you are able to, in a rare circumstance, you can, but I really don't highly recommend it. Again, of course, it's going to be really annoying because, like, you're going to be where I am now, back of the map, just chugging along, trying to shoot things. It's not going to be super accurate. It can be pretty painful. That's why I don't think the ship is awesome. It's not really an awesome ship. It does have its interesting gimmick for sure. And here, I also wasn't sure if my DD was trying to torp those battleships or if he was trying to torp the DD there. I was kind of confused there during this match. I didn't know what he was doing. But in this particular match, as you can see, there are 2 CVs, so you guys already heard me earlier talking about this. I'm most likely going to be having what you call a fun and engaging experience with those 2 CVs. So we will see. Also, you're going to take note of what me talking about the gun dispersion. I'm going to have a lovely time with the dispersion later. You're going to see that as well. So we're just going to be watching most of this replay while we just talk about the ship and the line. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to have this video out first or the Louisiana video out first. So I really don't know which one I'm going to do in order yet. I haven't really figured it out, so we'll see. This video may be out first, or maybe the Louisiana video will be out first. I'm not sure. I guess we'll just do a fancy to see how it goes. We'll see, I guess. I don't know. I guess we'll just find out. I don't know. If you guys are listening to this at this point, let me know in the comments which one I posted first. Well, actually, yeah, you guys can just let me know. Like, I'm gonna take a wild guess. I'm gonna post the Louisiana first, mostly because I like posting the tier 10. But I don't know if you're listening to this point. I don't know. Just let me know you're listening at this point. Just leave a comment, Louisiana or Nebraska, so I know you guys are actually, like, paying attention. I'd appreciate that, so we can see how many people actually made it this far in the video. If people are actually paying attention, or if they enjoy this sort of thing. Now, again, I'm just gonna say this. To me, this kind of gameplay where you're just sitting like this isn't super fun. I could have pushed a little further in. I'll admit. I think I've played a little bit too far back. I got a little bit of like I got a little scared with this thing because I didn't want to risk being too aggressive and getting destroyed by that sub. Because we all know how subs are. Those things, man. They can be terrifying. And also, as you're just going to be watching, my dispersion on this dude. Oh, man, you have no idea how oh, man, I was raging. I was just raging at the luck of this guy. Because I just kept missing and missing and missing and missing and missing, and it was just like, good lord. I will admit that my aim also wasn't the best either. Like, I aimed a little bit too high on that one salvo, but good lord, there was just certain situations where I should have nailed the hell out of them, and I just didn't, and it's just like, come on. Yeah, you look at that dispersion, like, good lord. Not even, only one of the shells were close. The rest of them were just miles away. I also don't know why he decided to smoke and still push. I did find that an interesting strategy on his part. I wasn't really sure why he did that in particular, but oh well. He died. He didn't get his torps off, so happy me. Very, very happy me in the end there. Very happy. Pretty happy. Pretty happy. But no, I was not very happy with that submarine this match either. I was not very pleased. I was not pleased at all. I should have been a little bit closer in this match. If I would have been like 2 kilometers closer, I could have hit the submarine with those depth charges and had a really good time with them too. But in the end, I was just too far back. Now, this guy kept on teasing his broadside to me because he was trying to shoot the New Mexico that was on my side. He kept on teasing his side. He kept on teasing it. I don't think I got any Citadels on him in the end. These are 406s, so they don't have, like, the most pin. But they are North Cal guns, so I'd expect a little bit more damage, you know what I mean? Like, I'd expect a little bit more. Like, come on, man. Just a little something, you know? A little bit more bite. A little bit more bite, you know what I mean? Also, while this is going on, right now, the brawls are going on for the 1v1 CVs. I got bored of that within, like, 40 minutes, 30 minutes. I got so bored of it so fast. I even tried to do, like, the meme, Richthofen secondary meme, and it just couldn't work. The secondaries aren't accurate enough to do enough damage to kill the CVs. And normally, if they see a Richthofen, they kind of just run away anyway, so you're not going to really be able to hit them with secondaries anyway. Also, to go off of that as well, pretty much you're not able to cap either, because they're just going to keep hitting you over and over and over again if you're pushing in the cap. Pretty much, to me, the ship that I think is going to be the top dog for this 1v1 CVs, of course, is going to be the Nakamov. Whenever I pretty much played the Nakamov like the whole time during that, and it was just destroying everything. The only thing that it had trouble with was the Emmeline and the Richthofen due to their heavy armor, but anything else, you just take those attack fighters, you just keep spamming them over and over, and you're doing like 10, 15, 20k salvage each time with them. It's just ridiculous. Just, ugh, lord, man, it's just so dirty. Good lord. Ugh. Like, it's just, and the fact is that also those things are so quick, and like since the brawls are like the brawls maps are super close knit, it makes it where you're really likely to be able to just be within 12, 13 kilometers of the other CV, which is like the perfect range for the Nakamov, because those you just get that little boost in the beginning of the launch, and man, it just speeds you along like good lord. Now, one thing I was actually really impressed about was the ASW. I am glad that they gave ASW to the hybrid line. I was able to absolutely destroy the submarine in the previous match, which I was very, very happy about. It's always fun to kill the submarines. Super fun indeed. Also in this match as well, I also get to have fun with them, which I'm very happy about. And hello there, Mr. Cruiser Man. And as you can see, there's submarine just cruising on the surface with no cares in the world. Lord, I wish I could live like that sometimes. I wish. I do try to get the submarines to go underwater, because if they go underwater, they are a lot slower too. And they also have the oil slicks when they're underwater, so it's easier to keep track of them. If they're on the surface, you pretty much consider them a DD, but This guy is kind of making a mistake. He should have already been dove in a long time ago, and our RCV finally got wise to it and just kept a fighter over him to keep him perma-spotted, which I was very happy about. One of our CVs did do a good job and put pressure on their submarine to finally go underwater, thank the Lord. And I was pretty dumb here, and I just preemptively did a depth charge thinking he would hit that, but no. And since he's underwater, oh look, there's the beautiful oil slicks. Ah, sweet, sweet justice. Sweet, sweet justice. Getting to kill the little dildo machines. So nice. It's such sweet justice. And since he DCP'd earlier, it's pretty much just... Actually, I don't remember. Did he? Oh, no. He just DCP'd. The thing is, we kind of know the general direction where he's going, so I can kind of just predict where he's going to go. I don't remember if I hit him with this one, but since the ASW is like a reload of 30 seconds, I think. I don't remember what I said the stat was. But, oh, yep, I got him again, and that's going to be a perma spot with that damage. And, yep, and we're just going to have fun with them. Oh, yeah, I was like, damn. Yeah, I didn't expect him to be right there. I thought he was going to be more to the right. A little further away. Oh, and he died there. Sweet. Amazing. Now, earlier, I was talking about, near the start of the video, I was talking about how, since this thing is such a large, I was talking about how this thing does have good anti-air, but the problem is that it's such a large target that you're going to suffer against CVs, and, oh, Lord, of course, I got put up against the Russian CV. As a tier 8, which is fantastic. Super fantastic. I had the most fun in the world with that thing. And you know how it is trying to shoot down planes with that thing. It's almost impossible. If you have a really good Russian CV player, all they have to do is pretty much just keep things at max distance when they're launching at them, and you're really not going to be able to shoot down their planes too much. And fighters are pretty much useless on Russian planes. So it's really not even worth it to do that. I mostly use the fighters to try to shoot down any of the tier 6 CV. At that point, that's all I was trying to do. I was just trying to do something at that point. I was just... You guys are gonna see what I'm talking about. Because for the next... Let's see how much longer it is for this replay. Like 5 minutes, 4 minutes. It's just gonna be me just being bullied by the two CVs. Me trying to get the cap. But, yeah, you'll see in my cry of pain in chat soon. Because someone's like, you guys need to help out Bo, man. Can someone help out Bo with A? You guys are going to see my cry for pain. You guys will see it soon. Because, yeah, I didn't expect both the CVs to be behind that island. I really didn't. I found it kind of weird. Because this flank didn't really have that much. So for both the CVs to be back there was kind of surprised me. Ooh, that was a nice dodge though. That was pretty nice. Because I was over here trying to dodge the one, and there was the other, and it's just like, good lord, man, just so many of them. I think this is the closest I almost got the cap. I was so close to getting it. I was like right on the edge. I was like, no. I just want the cap, man. But, yeah. With two CVs just barreling down on you, there really wasn't much. You know, first someone says, well, why didn't you use the plane to go and spot them or attack them? Well, one, I was trying to dodge as many salvos, as many stuff as I could, because I was trying to distract the CVs for as long as I could so that my team in other areas of the map could actually do something. The problem is, I didn't realize that the rest of my team kind of fell apart, and that I was pretty much just free practice at this point for these two. So it was kind of a disaster in the end, because I was hoping that our battleship over at sea could get the sea cap, but sadly our other CV wasn't able to stop their DD that was roaming around, which is really, really sad because they really needed him dead. Oh, man. I'm just watching this match just hurts, dude. At least I'm stacking up the plane damage, though. and there's the... Are you able to help Bo? Someone's like, are you guys able to help Bo? And I'm just like, all I know is pain. Because there's literally nothing I can do. I'm just screwed here. Like, there's nothing. Now, if it was any other CV and not the Poieba, like any other tier 8 CV, at least I'd be able to do more plane damage to his planes. But since it's only one squadron, I'm not really doing that much damage to his planes. So he just keeps coming back like with the same amount of planes over and over and over again. That's just more with the Russian CV and that particular player being a good CV player. He pretty much knew how to negate as much damage as possible during his runs. So good on him for that. I was able to knock down a lot of the tier 6 CV though, his planes, which is decent at least, so I'm pretty happy with that. But in the end, I don't know. We're gonna lose this match if I remember correct. We did lose this match. It was a disaster. We were really close. Like if we would have had like the one BB that went back to our CV at A, if he would have went to B and then our other CV, our other BB went to C, right away instead of like running away from that DD as much, I think we'd have been okay. I think we would have possibly won this because I distracted these two CVs for. I really don't know how long. It was a long time for sure. It was a very, very long time that I was distracting them for. So it's kind of a disaster in that end. Well, at least I finally have a target to shoot at. Good lord. I think I was trying to dodge their strikes for like 5, 6 minutes maybe. I think 5, 6 minutes maybe. So we'll just take that. And I do the final air squadron to try to see if I can go do any more damage, anything before the timer runs out. There's only like 13 seconds left, 12 seconds left, and I am killed. Disaster. At least I was able to do a lot of plane damage, so that kind of shows how strong the anti-air is. But in the end, it is what it is. Ooh, I was top of the team with 1,300 base XP. I will take that. Oh, very nice, very nice. 89k damage. You get 1 kill, so nice. But yep, that is going to be it. If you guys have any questions or concerns, definitely in the comments down below. But yep, this is OverlordBou. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for all the support as always. I love you all. Thank you guys again for everything. And yep, I will talk to y'all laters.